Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network. 'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven. A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at UBNradio.com.
It's time to talk. I'm April.
And I'm Deidre. Happy Saturday, everybody.
Happy Saturday. It really is a happy Saturday.
It sure is, April.
I'm a little tired, though.
I am also.
I'm a little tired because I stayed up to watch the royal wedding.
I did, too.
Did you stay up?
I saw it. It was just amazing.
It was so beautiful.
It was just gorgeous.
It was just such a fairy tale. You know, it was like, it's how we grew up watching all the Disney fairy tales or, you know, fairy tales in the movies. It was like a real life fairy tale in our lifetime.
Right.
And to me, I could relate to it more because I'm a black woman.
Right. Yes. Hello.
Meghan Markle is Duchess of Sussex now is a black woman.
Right.
So it's
mixed
cool.
into diversity, entered into the aristocrats and
castle.
royalty to the castle. Yes, it was just beautiful, absolutely amazing. And I was just telling, I think you and I discussed, it's so phenomenal to be alive at this time.
Yes.
We are just experiencing so many different firsts, just in milestones in life and just history, historical things
right before our eyes.
And
you
to be
wake up and there's just something like, I didn't think this would happen in my lifetime.
Exactly.
You wake up again. I didn't think this would happen in my
These
lifetime.
are things that you've read through school and history books and things like that, and you found it's like, wow, what a time to be born in, to go through this and that. But we are living these historical moments as well. So then I think about the generations coming after us. They'll look back and say, wow, they lived through the first black president, the first biracial black woman queen of England.
Queen?
No, princess.
You went there, huh?
I went there, but
Made her the queen?
She's a duchess. But
I don't know if that's
princess,
possible.
and you never know. Well, hey,
I'm just
speak
saying,
it out
I
to
don't
the
know
universe.
how it
You never, but anyway, duchess to princess, and princess.
Who knows?
Yes, but but anyway,
off?
it's a beautiful thing. Just going through all these different witnessing and experiencing all these different.
I keep cutting you off. I'm sorry.
I know.
I'm just excited because I'm looking over at Jarvis. I see that Jarvis is showing the pictures, and I was just like,
well, okay, let's go there because when
I went to how she looked.
When I saw her, yes, my mouth just dropped, and I was like, oh, I just felt like she was just part of my family. Like I could just feel the love and just seeing her, the wonderful, beautiful interaction, with him.
Her mom?
Yes, her mother.
An overwhelming position to be in, though. Your baby girl is getting married, but in front of the world.
Yes.
Right?
I saw her tear up. She was tearing up, and I could tell. Even I think one of the announcers saying she looks overwhelmed. And so I'm like,
she kept her composure.
She sure did.
I don't think I would have been able to do that. I'm easily excitable anyway. I am. That's my personality, and I just don't think I would have been as composed as she was through the whole thing.
Both of them, actually, because even if I was sitting next to my prince, I couldn't contain myself, and I would be looking at him and like, oh my gosh, and I'd probably be crying and just all kind of stuff, But it was beautiful.
Yes.
It was classy. Did you like her dress?
I loved her dress because I know that there are it's a certain style that she has to wear, and it had to be long sleeved. She couldn't have any cleavage showing, and it had to be a certain cut. So the styles of today, it's all about your cleavage. It's all about skin. Skin is in, and so you don't know if someone's going to be completely covered up. It's a modesty look.
Well, Queen Elizabeth was not going to have that.
She was not having that, but you just don't know how is it going to be. How are they going to make it really work?
Yeah.
And man, did it work.
It worked wonderfully. Yeah. And I love the all the ceremonial things that were happening, just even with the pastor speaking, and then they had the gospel choir singing, just the things that they incorporated that they normally wouldn't have. It was beautiful. It was more spiritual to me. It was more, definitely more exciting, just bringing in a culture, diverse culture and the Black culture, and we're very passionate people, and we have the gift of singing, among other things, and so it was just bringing, and when we sing about God, it's just you just bring in a spirit of love and together, and you just feel warm, you feel something good, and I think being there was probably a heck of an experience. We're looking at it on TV, and I was feeling. I was feeling the love and the warmth coming through the TV. I can imagine being there, witnessing and feeling that, going through those emotions, feeling that, all that in there.
Right. Yeah, it was amazing. And Bishop Curry, him, that's someone that she brought in, Megan brought in, and he was just talking about love. And that was just so
was beautiful.
Powerful.
Yeah.
At first it was like, where's he going with this? And because the energy of the room, everyone looked just so stoic, and you just you couldn't tell how they were receiving him and exactly what the message was going to be.
Right.
But man, did he wrap it up very nicely. He just talked about love. And the bottom line is God is our source. God is love.
Right.
We are from God. Right. We are to love ourselves, love our neighbors. We can change this whole world, which is something that you and I talk about quite often on this show.
That's right.
How you can use your power to change the world.
Use it for good.
And your good power, the power that God gave us. And so I just thought that was just so powerful.
And I think, and the reason for that, we push that, we promote that, is because once you start promoting and doing things for good and out of love, you will be blessed unbelievably. Yes. So much. In whatever your needs are, whatever your dreams are, they will come true. God has a way. The universe has a way. Yeah, it's something, whatever you're desiring, true desire in your heart. Yeah. And if it's good and all that, when you give that out to someone else, when you support someone else, when you show that to someone else, you get that back. You get whatever you want back, and billion and tenfolds. Just unsurmountable amount. So that's why we push that, because we've experienced it in our own lives, and I want more of it in my own life personally.
There's nothing wrong with that, because it's all about love, and there's plenty of it to go around. Yeah. And if we just use that energy to express it to one another, we can change this world.
And I love how they were. I love how they were equally yoked. They have the same type of views in life, and coming from beautiful Princess Diana, I loved her. She was just such a humanitarian and a philanthropist, and she cared. She really had a heart for people and wanting to give and do service. And the fact that these two, Harry and Meghan, found each other in that is just unbelievable. Because you spend so many times, there's times in life people, you go through, you meet people, and you end up with people for different reasons, and bottom line is it's not a match. Right. You're not compatible, or something. There's nothing there there's only one thing that's keeping you together when you haven't looked at everything, that took your time to look at everything that can keep you together. So or work on it. So it's a beautiful union, just gorgeous.
And I think I saw some different posts in social media saying, why should I be concerned about someone else's life? I don't even know her. I don't even know him. But I just think it's the energy, and it's the feeling of love, and it's just the expression, and it's a good energy in this world and in America, which is what we need. Right. So I think it's right on time, and I am celebrating with them.
It's an example. How would you know how would you experience or really get to know what real love is if you don't see it? And not to say that they're human, so there's anything that can happen, but there are levels to love. And you can see there's levels to love, and some people are getting it higher than others, and it's what we all really in our hearts are striving and want. We want that higher love, that which is unconditional. Yes, unconditional. You want the perfect person in your life who gets you, who understands you.
Yes.
So so when we see people like this, and like I said, they're human, they have faults, who knows, but when we see these things play out, and these are examples to us to say, well, man, I can have that.
That's possible.
Just like we saw the first Black president. That's possible now,
right,
for Black people.
That's so true.
And any other ethnic group.
True. That's so true.
So these are
maybe not even the princess thing.
Yes,
going that far, but you're saying finding true love, finding someone that is for you.
For you. And it's possible. And it's possible.
Amen.
So that's why we have these visual examples. It's not about you carrying to someone else's life. This is an example of showing you, because it doesn't have to be a wedding. It can be anything, but it might be something that sparks you, that you've been dreaming and desiring about.
It's so true. It was a beautiful thing. And so it was wonderful to see those images. So we are actually even more excited than the royal wedding for us, because I feel like we have royalty here today.
Right, we do.
We have the CEO of Crossroads TV and also the president of Crossroads TV. It's a brand new network, and we have them waiting in the green room. We're going to go to a break, and we're going to bring them back here in the studio with us, and we're going to talk to them about their endeavors coming up. So please stay tuned, and we'll be right back.
Speak Your Week will guide you through the process of using the power of your thoughts and words to create more positivity and success in your life, day to day and week to week. Written by It's Time to Talk's own host, April Jordan. This dynamic book will remind you of the powerful person you really are and how to use that power to create the life that you want. Want better health, success, abundance, love, and more. Within the chapters, you will discover the kind of thoughts, emotions, and words you should be speaking about the things that matter to you most. Also, included in this book are affirmations to speak each day of the week. When spoken in daily succession, these affirmations gain momentum and can help you on your journey towards the life of your dreams. There's no other way around having the life that you want. It all starts with you. Get ready to speak your week. Available for download at Amazon.com.
It's Time to Talk. Hopefully you're still with us. We are here today in the studio with our wonderful guest. I told you we have royalty here. Forget about that wedding. We got royalty here. We have the CEO and the president of Crossroads TV, CEO Sharifah Hardie, and President Marvin Williams. Please welcome them to the show.
Welcome, guys.
Thank you. We're very happy to be here.
So happy that you two are here.
Yes,
thank you so much for coming. I feel like it's royalty because who starts the TV network nowadays? And what CEO, what president comes to sit and talk to you about?
Exactly.
We are very blessed.
Yes, we are.
Right?
Very active CEOs and presidents who believe that they love their people and their audience. That's who comes to visit the radio
I
station.
love it. I love it. That's exactly what it
That's
takes.
what I'm talking about.
Yes.
So please tell us, how did Crossroads, well, first of all, it's not CROSS, it's Crossroads as in X Rose TV.
Yes.
What does that mean, first of all?
Well, for me, the reason we came up with Crossroads is I was at a crossroads in my life. I had just finished working with another television network and trying to decide what I wanted to do. Did I want to go look for another job, or what direction did I want to go in? And so I said, you know what? Entertainment, television is really a passion of mine. So I partnered with Marvin and we launched Crossroads TV.
Okay.
Wow.
Now, you don't just say I partner with
Right.
Marvin.
Exactly.
Marvin was just walking down the street.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, be my partner.
Yeah, like,
Yes.
like how'd you find Marvin? That's what we want to know.
Well,
I've known Marvin for
the
years.
truth is,
Yes.
Sharifah and I have known each other for years, probably around 9 years.
Oh, wow.
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and that the other network that she was dealing with, I was actually going to produce with them as well. Okay. So when Sharifah departed, I have a production company that is also very situated with major studios in town. So Sharifah made a very strategic move, a CEO move, right, at that crossroads in her life, to be able to basically intertwine with a company that can work in the same vein as herself. I applaud Sharifah for being absolutely professional, absolutely creative, a wonderful spirit.
Wow.
Yes.
And,
She is,
and
yes.
isn't she? And when you have that person, all you can do is try to wrap resources around them, corral the wagons, if you will.
Right.
And that's what we did. And
smart.
it was also a blessing for me because as we know, when we all watch TV shows and movies, we don't only see one name on that screen.
All right.
It's a collaborative art.
Right.
And for me personally, I feel it's a blessing to collaborate with
Okay.
with Sharifah Hardie.
Wonderful.
That's pretty cool.
So what's your vision for Crossroads? So now that you're coming together, what is the total vision for it?
That's a very good question. Sharifah always leads off with that question, with the
Yes.
vision, because we look at it like we're on a battleship, and she's actually the captain of our navigation. So this is not just like, she's hoisted like she's here as a pretty face and the CEO.
Yeah.
She's actually navigating. She goes to work every morning before I get to work, probably 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, navigating the ship. See, my job's easy.
Right.
I just kind of walk up the stairs. Oh, look, it's sunny again. Look at the seagulls. Everything's beautiful. But she's like, Marv, you man the battle stations? I'm like, I got those. I got those.
Okay.
So being the fact that she always leads off with that, I'm just going to hand the mic back to you.
Well, thank you. I think the main vision for me for the company is twofold. Number one, our primary focus is production, producing original content, excellent content, because the networks are looking for content. They're hungry for content. There are a lot of outlets who want good content.
Right.
And so if we have the ability to produce that content and then walk that content directly into the networks, that is our focus. I mean, there are so many people of different genres who have talent and who can
Right.
produce or who are looking for an outlet to work with for distribution. So that is part of the vision for the company, but this is my personal vision. My personal goal for the company is that I am a job creator. I believe in creating jobs. I want to build and create a multi-billion-dollar company and create jobs. In today's economy, you have so many talented people, qualified professionals, and those qualified professionals are driving for Uber. They're driving for Lyft. They're out trying to do freelance work. And I'm like, you know what? We have to create a company where we can create jobs for these people in an environment where we are able to create generational wealth. I mean, that's my primary focus. So if we're able to create generational wealth, if we're able to create jobs through television and through entertainment, that's wonderful. But my thing is jobs are what boost the American economy. And so as a CEO, that is my primary focus.
And I love that you have that mindset because as the saying goes, there's so many talented people that are in the grave.
Yes.
You know, so there's so many people that are not doing what they love to do, not doing what they want to do. And the fact that you are even conscious of that you want to grab those people out of those off those freeways and
Yes.
get them to working is amazing.
I want to get them to work, but I also want to give people hope, not just from the
Mm.
job creation aspect, but there are many people, many filmmakers, many producers who have been dying to get into entertainment. They've been literally dying to get into Hollywood. I mean, they have ideas, they have dreams, they have
Right.
visions of what they would love to create, but almost all doors have pretty much been closed to them. I mean, Hollywood, Marvin says it all the time, you know, Hollywood really is invitation only. You know, you
Right.
have to be invited to the
Right.
party. I mean, you may be able to go to a lot of different industries and just walk in the door based on your skill set, based on your resume. But Hollywood really is invitation only. So what I want to do, my personal goal as CEO for the company, is to make this an environment where we can help people at a crossroads of their life. Maybe they have a film, maybe they have a television show, maybe they have a project that they've been dreaming of doing for the last 20, 30, 40 years, but they haven't been able to get it to anyone. They haven't been able to get to anyone. So they can work with Crossroads. We are so available. We're so approachable. So we are looking for content, and we're looking for people who, again, at the crossroads of their lives, really want to change their lives, change their day job or whatever they're doing, and focus on entertainment.
Yes.
Wow, I love it. And I
That's
think,
Sharifah Hardie for president.
2020.
Yes.
There we go.
You got
and
my vote.
what I love about this, Sharifah and Marvin, is the fact that, you know, you're creating opportunities for people to live out their dreams, you know, in terms of that. And it's inclusion, you know, and, you know, like you said, invitation only in Hollywood.
Right.
But Crossroads is open to, and it definitely, you know, we're all African Americans sitting here, so of course we're that is an open door for us as well to create and to actually build for ourselves as well, the generational wealth that we talked about earlier, you know, conversations like that before the show. So, Marvin, and Sharifah explained the vision of Crossroads, but for yourself, what is your vision? Like, where do you see taking this as well in collaboration with Sharifah?
Well, I simply agree. I think it was very well said.
Okay.
And hold on for 1 second, because I'm getting a little lightheaded.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Sharifah, take over for a second.
Would you want to take a quick break?
No break.
No.
No break.
I'll talk a little bit about
water?
the personal vision,
Okay.
even for production, is to produce really great content, really good content.
Yes.
Because we're able to expand the production and the equipment that we have, the money that we've invested into equipment, into editing equipment. We're going to be able to produce content that can be seen and be shown for years. Being able to produce content in 2K or 4K ahead of industry standards. That's our primary focus. Just being able to open doors for people. That's
You know what? I'm going to cut you off. You know what I love about this duo here?
It's real, because I got lightheaded on the radio, and I said, Sharifah, get my back. I need to tap out. No,
You're like,
no, you got to
we
realize.
gonna catch you
If
before,
if
right.
you know anything about me, Sharifah, we also do a show called The Breakdown, right?
Right.
Okay.
So Sharifah, you know, I'll be on there, and I said, Sharifah, I got to stop, because, you know, we can do it, you know, we can call in on the phone. You know, we
Okay.
have technology. We're
Yes.
almost as advanced as this, it's not quite.
Okay.
But the
Right.
funny part about it is that Sharifah will be like, you are so honest. I was like, okay, no, let's pause for a second, because I'm about to put gas in the car. Marvin, you don't need to tell that to the people. So I can see right when we have this
it
relationship
real,
where we keep
Marvin.
it real, to where you hit me with the question, and then because of the lunch or whatever I had, all of a sudden I felt everything go to my brain. I said, I can't answer that question right
Oh,
now.
honey, I'm glad you said that because, you know, we're not trying to have all that.
No,
on
I'm like,
air.
okay, do I need to have
You look like that
911?
to show
No,
everything,
because then all of a sudden I might answer the
Yeah.
question in a very belligerent way, because I'm very creative.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
if answering that question.
Okay.
Well, see, that
The
and that's what I
creative
that's what I
side,
and that's what I would
right?
love for you to talk about. Your creative side.
The
That's
creative
all I
side. No, I think with what Sharifah said in terms of wanting to create generational wealth.
Yeah.
yes.
And create
Amen.
those opportunities.
Yeah.
My side really is to be able to streamline
Okay.
those ideas so that they are better monetized.
Okay.
So Sharifah is pretty much the intake.
Right.
And production are those pieces that take they're the mechanics that take the gasoline, if you will,
Okay.
Yeah.
that feeling, that emotion, and we turn it into a product,
Right.
right? And because and just like in any network or any major studio, you can't air everything, right? We want to. If we could,
Yeah.
we would, you know.
Okay.
But the truth is, at the same time, is Crossroads is one vehicle, you know, one medium.
Yeah.
But we are a widespread medium. When I say that, we are one of the few networks that have embraced, you know, at the outset, at the early stages, second screen, which is like internet, everything web based,
Okay.
as well as OTA, over the air, as well as also having our ambitions to move to cable. Beyond that, we're also heading towards the public waters on the OTC. That's normally a CEO answer, but at the same time, the OTC is where it's at. So when she's talking about the generational wealth, the generational wealth not only comes from the passive income of having a successful show that can be monetized and we get the residuals, the Hollywood residuals, but also at the same time as being a part of something that's publicly traded.
Right.
And then on that standpoint, so you win actually in three ways. You win from the revenue model, you win from the actual residual model, and then at the same time, you have the generational wealth, which is created from the stock.
Right.
So
And that's what I was going to say.
Bravo, because I'm sorry to cut you off, but
Okay.
this is
exciting, right?
I love this, Marvin, because this is what you, both of you, but an example, a black man. You know what I'm saying? This is where things that we're not taught, especially in the black culture. Black, you have a gold mine of creative inside of you. The things that knowledge that you have. So we're an example. I told April today earlier, we were talking earlier, we all are examples.
Right.
And if someone is, young black males, whatever, looking at you today, like what you're saying, that's interesting. That's something different.
Well, I'm going to spit on it. I can preach on it. Like literally, the thing I love about Sharifah and I is that we didn't combine on Crossroads as some kind of like pity party, saying, "Girl, what you doing today?" Like it's Friday, like you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what you doing today? I'm none. What you doing today? I'm unemployed too. What you want? No, it wasn't that. It was when I look at Sharifah, I've respected Sharifah from day one because I believe our first project we worked with a guy by the name of Dorian Gregory, who was on Charmed and the host of Soul Train. So we were already. Yeah, you remember Dorian?
Yeah.
And she's like, "Oh, I'm a fan of his. I like it." No, I'm kidding. But the point is, we started there. We already started with something that was already in the nations, the domestic and the international eye. We started there, and then dealing with the networks and things of that nature. We have a lot of practical expertise in the business. My expertise actually came from programming, actually computer programming. So when we're talking about stocks, this and the other, I was a part of a company going public at the age of 25. I'm saying that because the company went public on the Canadian Stock Exchange, right? And what you just said is very valid. When you have 95% of the nation's wealth held within 5% of the people, but at the same time, those 5% hold 85% of the stock market.
Something wrong.
That's the mathematics.
Yeah.
So the gimmick that you don't realize that when you're at birth, when you go through birth and you're part of this economy and you're giving, the Cheetos, Frito-Lay, Nike, ABC, NBC, Universal, you're giving and you go work at McDonald's, another publicly traded company, and you're working there, you're taking their money and spending it on all these other publicly traded companies, and you're like, how come I'm not getting wealthy? That's because at the same time, you're not thinking of it on the same playing field. You're not in the same game.
Right.
You're a spectator watching the game, wondering why you're not in the game. And so Sharifah's mindset has always been not only to be in the game, be the coach of the game, and be the owner of the team.
Yeah.
And
Amen.
also not to just keep that information to herself. She takes it out there with her to say, you know what, I'm not the only NFL team owner. You can be too, boo-boo.
Right.
And you too. You want an NBA team?
Yes. Oh, yes.
I got the blueprint. I'm like, she's giving the blueprint away. And I'm
you know what? We're not
I'm
used
from the
to
same
that, though.
cloth.
We're not used to.
Yeah.
And I'll right, high fiving. And I'll tell you my observation. Meeting Sharifah, Deidre and I met Sharifah at another event, and she invited us to your launch party.
Right.
And
awesome.
I told Deidre, I was like, I feel we have to go.
Right.
I don't know why. I feel we have to be there.
Right.
Deidre, of
I'm
course,
like,
she's
like,
always down.
And we're
Right.
always so we
down.
vibe, and she says we have to go. I'm like, it's a
you're-
reason we
we're
gotta
like,
go.
okay.
And vice
Right.
versa. So,
So
yeah.
we show up and it says launch party.
Right.
So I'm thinking party.
Right.
But we get there and there's a round table, there's a conference
Right.
table, and there's people sitting around. You guys are sitting around this table, and I'm
Yeah.
like, this looks like a meeting that we should
Right.
be at.
I
You
said,
know,
should we go in? What are we doing?
Right.
we were like, but I love that you guys were hitting the ground running. Like, we're not here to play.
Right.
Yeah, there's party favors and there's drinks or whatever, but have a seat and let's talk.
Yes.
And I love that. And
Well,
I was like,
it's very
these are-
serious.
These people are different. So I was like, these are my kind of people.
Well, you have to look at it like this right here. From my expertise, being able to literally take an idea. Sharifah can have an idea tonight. And we can take it in, like Sharifah and I, you look at her social media. She's at some of the pictures. We're on your live.
Right.
Thank you very much, right?
Right.
So when you look at that, we are like literally in the building.
Right.
And for the people who know anything about that is, if you look at Desperate Housewives to Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right, Benny Medina's show, right?
Yes.
If you look at Good Times, these are simply ideas that come out of thin air, intellectual property, that people simply know where to take. And then all of a sudden they create real money. And that's like, when I saw myself early on as a programmer, an idea you create it, and you know where to take it. Now it's on a stock exchange. Now a lot is lost in translation through, the university systems and the biases and the isms. But it's really just taking something from A to B. So what I think you saw when you came to our launch party was a simplification of the process. A lot of people get confused with the party, and they never know when that stops.
Right.
Yeah.
Our party was simply because we began. Come enjoy the fact that we're in business. And let's get to work.
Right. Right. And
That's
I
how
love
Sharifah does it.
Right. No, Sharifah don't play.
Awesome.
So I love it. Love it. But with Sharifah, there's a story we were talking before the show started, but we were talking about the Jordans. And, and I want you to talk about that. We're going to go to break soon, but I want you to talk about that when we come back, because that goes in line with the generational wealth, what we're creating here, what is happening here, and the shift that has taken place in our time. So
and also there's a lot of people that have checked in and are commenting, and so we're going to read some of your comments, and we're not ignoring you. We're going to chime in with you.
Yvette says hello, ladies, and hello. Marvin, Charles.
So
says,
we're gonna look at it over the break. We gotta get to this break, girl. We're gonna come right back.
Oh, I thought we had.
Gotta pay the bills.
Oh, we got it. Okay, we'll be
All
right back.
Everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Did you know that your skin is your body's largest organ? And you should be aware of what you're applying to it. The more natural products you use, the better. The best place to start is with Did It For Love handmade natural body products, made with pure organic ingredients. Our Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is whipped to perfection and hydrates dry, cracked skin and protects from UV rays. Did It For Love Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is infused with essential oils. You can choose from scents like lavender, vanilla and sandalwood, white rose, and many more. Our deodorant has a fresh scent that not only works against odor, but also reduces sweat. With this toxin-free deodorant, you can feel fresh and confident all day long. You can also keep your lips healthy and kissable with our handmade lip balms, in healing and fruity scents like tantalizing peppermint to sensational green apple. Our products promote healthy, youthful-looking skin and is safe for the whole family, vegan-friendly, cruelty-free, and gentle enough for cancer survivors and those going through treatment. Go to diditforlove.com today. Did It For Love, toxin-free for your whole family.
Welcome back to It's Time to Talk. We're having so much fun.
Yes,
you guys only knew what we were talking about when you guys are not listening. But anyway, we're back. Deidre, I'm going to let you talk to the the guests, and you wanted to,
Yeah, I just wanted to shout out everybody. Hi, Yvette. So Yvette is saying hi. So everybody say hi to Yvette. Thank you for tuning in. Yes.
Love you.
Yes.
And she says she's saying yes to everything. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Then Torrin Lee, really like the inclusive vibe of the wedding.
Torrin,
So
yes.
hi there. Also Connie Washington.
Yes.
She says we were in regards to April and I when we started the show. She said I love the way that like Meghan and Harry, she incorporated Meghan, her heritage, into the wedding without taking away from her husband's heritage. So that was awesome. So thanks, Connie, for that.
Nice.
Is it Deja Jordan? Or you definitely
Diet
have
Jordan.
Diet. Oh, excuse
Hi,
me,
my
Diet. Oh, hi, Miss Jordan.
Hi, Mom.
You
Love her already, Jordan.
I know, right?
Yes.
You
That's
definitely
my
have.
maiden name.
So
Yes.
she says you definitely have royalty with you today, shining examples of saying yes to your dream and going for it.
Yes.
So that's awesome. And who else we got?
Such support.
Yes.
Such support you guys have.
And then we have hi, Henry Lawrence. He's watching. Hi, Mom. Our mom is watching. Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hey, moms.
And that's it. Then Yvette says, so happy to see my fellow team working.
Yes.
Awesome.
We are working, so you
So-
can eat. Yes.
Right. Yes, because
We work so you can
yeah.
eat. That sounds like an ad.
Yes.
I want to eat.
We'll make it.
Crossroads
We'll
TV.
make
Yes.
it. Crossroads
Right.
TV. We work so you can eat.
I love that.
That's why we here on a Saturday.
That's right.
That's right.
So, but back to business, so we can eat. Sharifah,
Yes.
we were talking earlier before the
Yes.
show, and the analogy you used was wonderful about the Jordans, and we
Yes.
were talking. Could you explain a little bit more in terms of what we were talking about there?
Yes, absolutely. Before the show, we were talking about wealth in our community.
Yes.
That's what we started talking about.
Right.
Was with the Jordans. And one of my favorite conversations that I have is people always talk about in the Black community. That's what we're going to call it, the Black community.
Okay.
It's like we spend our money on things that are unimportant. Like we'll go and buy $200 Jordans, and everyone is always like, "Yeah, that's what we do. We buy the $200 Jordans." And my philosophy is this: we missing the whole point. It's not about $200 Jordans. The problem in our community is that we do not have discretional income.
Right.
That's the problem right now.
Right.
Is that we don't have the discretional income to go and buy anything that we want. We should have more discretional income to do those things.
Right.
You know, because what happens is we take that $200 that we want from the Jordans, we take that from the rent money. And so now we have to choose between these Jordans that we want or paying the rent.
Right.
And so everybody's like, oh yeah, but we shouldn't do that. You know, it's obviously more important that you pay the rent. And I'm not saying take from the rent money to pay for the Jordans. That's not my point. And that's not why I created Crossroads, and that's not why I created a company. What should happen is that in the Black community, in our community, we are supposed to have more discretionary income. We're supposed to be able to have what some people commonly refer to as a savings account or other accounts, that when we want to go buy whatever it is that we want to buy, we have that money available to us. So while we're pointing out in the Black community that we spend $200 on Jordans, you can go to other communities and they have spent thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars on things like forks. They can spend $40,000 on a fork, or $100,000 for a painting, or $15 million for a painting. But when they spend $15 million on a painting, who goes in and says, you know what? They really don't need that $15 million painting.
Exactly.
Right, because that would sound ridiculous. It would be completely ridiculous, because the problem is not that they spent $15 million for that painting. The thing for them is that it didn't cost them anything. They didn't have to choose between paying the rent and paying for that $15 million painting. It's the problem is that we have to make those choices. When you have other people in other ethnicities, they have 15 different houses. Who needs 15 houses? Are 15 houses a need, or 6 houses a need? But when we take $1,000 because we want the latest iPhone, but that $1,000 iPhone was the same cost as our rent, that's when we have the problems. So we have to go back and fix the root of the problem. It is that the wealth is not distributed in our communities. So what I want to do is, again, create generational wealth. And not only generational wealth, because generational wealth is saying someone's great grandkids or great grandkids are going to have wealth, or they're going to have income, or that grandchild is not going to have to decide, you know, if they're going to college. The only thing they'll have to decide is what college they want to attend, because their college is already paid for. So what we have to do is we have to be able to create jobs, create businesses. Because if I'm a business owner, right, and I want to spend $500 on a pair of shoes, or I want the purse or the car or whatever it is that I want, I can do that because I have the income, I have the wealth, I have the resources available to me, and it's not a live or die choice. I'm not making a choice on whether I get those shoes or whether or not I pay the rent. I have more than enough to be able to do anything and everything that I want to do. So that's why with Crossroads, one of the first things that I did was I brought on the team. I created the team, and I said, together, if we work together, what we're going to be able to do is pay for everything that we want, be able to live our lives. We are not supposed to be poor. God doesn't want us to be poor. Don't make me start preaching. But what I'm saying is that we're not supposed to be poor. Our birthright is to have everything that we want, anything that we want. My one caveat is that if you work an honest living, if what you do every day is honest, you're not stealing from anybody, you're not killing anybody, you're not hurting anybody, you're supposed to have whatever it is that you want. So that's why I want people to be a part of Crossroads TV. I want people to work with us. Visit the website, go check out the website, check out what we're doing, and become a part of the movement, because what we're doing is we're creating jobs. We're creating jobs in our community.
That's wonderful.
And you know what? And you, well said, my goodness. Woo, 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 woo. My goodness. Man, we high-fiving.
Okay.
But and it's so beautiful, and I love that. But how? My question is, how do you get people's mindsets to change? Because that sounds wonderful, but now it's a habit people doing that? How do you get their mindsets to come on board? And
I'm gonna answer it quickly, then I'm gonna give it to Marvin. But the thing is, I think people always ask that question: how do you do this? How do you get people? I'm not a person who convinces anybody. I'm more. I operate under Nike's philosophy. Just do it.
Yes.
Right? So the fact that we're doing it, the fact that we're walking the walk and not just talking the talk. So when those people look, they can see examples. They can see a successful CEO that's a company, a successful president. We're actually doing it so they can see it. That's what I would say.
Oh, no, and my key was just to educate yourself.
Yeah.
If you want discretionary income, and you want to be able to spend, those safeguards are normally held back through the information that you have. You know, information is the most valuable commodity that we have, that we know about. So I think one thing in any community, whether it's black, white, green, but we're talking about the black community, is to really step up to the plate and educate themselves on ways to create their own agenda.
Right.
Because, you know, if you look at other races, other groups of people, you know, I think, you know, I forget which particular group I was looking at, and they said their dollar, you know, runs through the cycle of their economies like 16 times before it leaves their environment. Our dollars normally go from paycheck to Ford, from paycheck to Jordan. And like Sharifah was saying, normally we have a stipulation there. Okay, do I want to wear Jordans like my man, like I saw in that video, or do I want to pay the rent? Well, paying the rent is boring. You might be able to even talk your manager into letting you stay a little bit longer. You ain't worried about no 3-day notices that ain't came yet. So really, that urgency ain't there. But hitting the club, it's Friday, you got paid Friday, you're going out Friday. Them Jordans gonna be what you need for Friday night activity. Sadly, I got a pair of Jordans on now. But you know what? But no. And you know what's funny? When we're talking about Jordans, like I have on my red Jordan 11s, and I have a Jordan actually collection. But I'm gonna tell you how, for the folks out there, how I acquire my collection.
But you probably have a home that you live in too.
Yeah. No, I'm not moving in with y'all tomorrow. But the point is, no, but no, and that's not to be funny. But the truth is, it's like, you know, kind of like how you handle your spending. Like I give myself what I call hamburgers. So when I do something well, which is like either close a client, and normally it involves money, but doing something of that nature, rarely do I give myself a hamburger when money is not crossed through my bank account. So I don't do it beforehand.
A literal hamburger?
No, I mean, like shoes, toys, gifts to myself. Like I buy myself gifts. You get what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
So like when I think about my Jordan collection, whatever I've amassed, you know what I'm saying? I do it with a certain discipline. You know what I'm saying? And I think what happens in, like, you know, any community where, like, you know, there's any kind of, like, you know, any kind of financial ignorance, I'll call it, you know, and that's also if you go to, like, whether you go to a trailer park, I've been through many hoods in this country with many different colored faces. And what I notice when I see, you know, the impoverished and the poor, you know what I'm saying? Whatever they're doing, I always see a lack of knowledge on how to make that money work. All they know how to do is go, they know one thing. If I wake up in the morning and I'm there till 5, 2 weeks from now there's a check. And life, you know, for the rich is of course not that simple. They go up in the morning, they're going to the golf course, and then they're going to visit their lawyer. Then they're going to go to lunch. It's a lot more sophisticated, and all these things are there to close a multi-million-dollar deal. The information is on their side. So what we have to do is fight for that information. One thing I do appreciate about Crossroads is we're not here to save the world, but we are here to change lives one life at a time. And we're going to do that through having a more inclusive policy and proving that it can be monetized. You get what I'm saying? Because even if I look at the success of something like, say, Black Panther, you know, a lot of the Hollywood elite would look at that film and say, hey, Black Panther's going to come out. It's going to be African-American based, you know, sci-fi, never really been done before on that level, that regard. And then, oh, wow, it's shocking. It knocked out Titanic at $1.3 billion in revenue, theatrical box office. So when you look at those numbers exist. Those numbers are there. You know, the African-American community, the urban community controls about $1.2 trillion in buying power. So it can afford a $1.3 billion gross theatrically grossing movie worldwide. It can do that. And it can do a lot more. And I'm not just saying section off like, you know, the black dollars, this dollars, that dollars, but simply put, there should be more people of color on the stock markets. Because at the same time, I remember we're doing a report with a group about 20 years ago, and it was funny because it was really about the urban community and their ability to create the next hottest trends. Look at the rims of today, look at the shoes of today, look at the style of today, look at basketball, look at the music, this and the other. Even if you look at R&B, rock and roll, wherever, a lot of that influence came from a certain community and culture. But that community and culture necessarily didn't reap the benefits of Wall Street. You know, if you look at hip hop music, at the same time, look at the owners of those record labels, the Jimmy Iovine's of the world. I have no problem with Jimmy Iovine. I've worked for Jimmy Iovine. But at the same time, just look at who's really making the money. I remember looking at one report on music artists, and I remember it was crazy. The profits from, say, a CD that came out in the store, like, say, Blockbuster back in the day, the CD manufacturer would be making more than the artist. And imagine if, like, you're En Vogue. So the CD gets, the manufacturer gets 8 points. The groups get 6 points. You know what I'm saying? And then the group got to share 6 points amongst themselves. That's how TLC got in trouble. So, but then again, we have to go back to this. The record labels had the information, not the artists.
That's right.
And so when you look at Sharifah and what she's saying, that's the cool thing about having that kind of a spirit at the head of a company, because it navigates the ship into those uncharted waters. I just make sure our guns are firing.
Right. That's wonderful, because that sparks my a question we were talking about before the show again. First of all, Sharifah, I want to say you told us you're an ordained minister.
Yes.
And I love that. So it's all coming. It's coming from the divine.
Yes.
And in terms of what Marvin was speaking earlier, we were talking about how you said we were not taught as our culture, through, we went through slavery, systematic racism, all those things. But talk more about what we were talking about in terms of that.
Yes. I think it goes back to what Marvin was just talking about just now, about the financial aspect and the knowledge and the information. And one of the things that we were talking about prior to the show was that we were all saying it's a beautiful time to be alive.
Right.
Yes.
It really is a beautiful time to be alive.
Yes.
And
Talking
part
about black businesses. And
Yes.
Entrepreneur. That's what
right.
I'm sorry. I
Because
failed to leave that
never
out.
before in history will we have even had these opportunities. These opportunities would have been taken away from us. We would have been literally killed if we tried to do some of these things. So it's in our DNA to not even try, because we're like, no, the last person who tried to do that business, they did Wall Street didn't fare too well,
Right.
Yeah. So
Turn into ashes.
right. So I'm not going to try that again. So you have a lot of people, even though they may not even know that's what they're doing consciously, but subconsciously that's what they're doing. They're not trying. They're not trying to build all these different businesses, because each and every time they built businesses, they tried to go on Wall Street. They had their own communities. These communities literally were burned down. These communities were literally stopped. So that kind of holds us back. And but that's not what, even though that's happened, what I like to remind people of, it was that was a systematic thing that happened. That was a deliberate thing that happened. That wasn't something that happened by happenstance. That wasn't something that's just the way it worked out. This happened systematically. So what I'm saying to people is, look, that system is no longer in place. It's a beautiful time to be alive, because knowledge is power. Information is power. When I was growing up and I asked my parents a question, they told me to go look it up in the Encyclopedia Britannica. They wouldn't answer my question. I was mad. Like, dang, like I can't get an answer for nothing.
Our father would tell us the same thing.
Right.
You don't have 2 minutes?
No. Go look it up. Go read the Encyclopedia Britannica. They drummed that into me. And now my kids now are 21 and 24. When they were growing up, they asked me a question, Mom, how do you spell Mississippi? Google. That's how you spell everything, right? Because I don't want them to I don't want to give them the information. I want them to go read, look it up, find the answers for yourself, find this person's opinion, that person's opinion. So now in businesses, there's no stopping us. There's nobody who can say we can't go on Wall Street. We can't build a successful business, because that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to be trading on the OTC. It is our plan, based on our projections, to be trading on the OTC before the end of 2018. It doesn't take much for us to do the things that we want to do, but what we're doing right now is we're focusing on the investment, bringing on investors to the company, people who want to be a part of helping us grow the company, and people who just want to be a part of what we're doing. We are actively looking for those people to come on board now, because we're taking this company all the way to the stock market.
And I want to add one thing right there. It's just a thought that came into my head when we're talking about like the communities, this and the other. And if you want to see some real change, instead of, and then this is just for the brothers and sisters out there who I can say this because by the time I was 21, I'd moved 21 times. So I was a part of a few different neighborhoods, if you will, right? I got to involved with a few different people. Yeah, I didn't want to be. And so at the same time, it was kind of like I just poofed and I was there like, look at this new spot. Look at these interesting folks with these brand new colors. Okay, here we go. So, but I can say, I always kept God first. I was in love with sports, but I can say one thing now that I'm mature too is like, for the folks out there, brothers or whatever, And listen when I say this, it's like instead of looking to shoot at each other, if you really want to change the community, just shoot each other some business.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yes.
That
Say
is where
that.
we're
Yes.
going now.
Absolutely.
I think 2018, 2020 and
Yes.
beyond, when you look at Crossroads, don't shoot at each other. Don't hate on each other. Just shoot each other some business, and you'll see what that does.
Oh my
Work
gosh.
together.
Keep
Yes,
keep
together.
those
Yes.
dollars working, and then and deal with sophisticated companies who understand the OTC, so it can magnify that opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Monetize, and monetize
Right.
again.
Right.
And like I remember this hitmaker producer that I know who had the #1 film in the country a few years back. I think it was You Got Served. Told me, he said, Marvin, always remember one thing, but in a good way. Get the money, and don't forget to get the money. Okay, and Sharifah right here, as much as she's an ordained minister,
Right.
the bills have to be paid.
Right. Right.
Her flock has to be paid. She's here to create jobs, and I'm here to take those beautiful ideas and monetize them.
Right.
So instead of all the crabs in the barrel logic, which I always hear, but it's not only our community. If you go anywhere inside the Hollywood walls, it ain't crabs in those barrels, it's tigers.
Oh.
It's
Yes.
on and popping in those
Right.
rooms. You sitting, you think it's hard on the block be inside of a boardroom with executives who know what they're doing,
Right.
and you're gonna see how much money's on the table, and you ain't never seen that. That ain't no crab. That's like a dragon.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, but we have the power to change because we do have an economy that we control. We have the ability to create trends. We have
So much
the
power.
we have the
Right. So
ability
much.
to go on the OTC and be a standout good business.
Yeah.
We have an awesome CEO, an okay president. I think we can put together.
You're awesome too.
You know what I'm saying?
Both you guys.
So,
you guys
so
are
if someone
power.
is watching right now and they
Yeah.
want to invest, they want more information on investing.
Sharifah
how
question.
can they reach
Sharifah
you?
question.
Yes, they can visit the website. On the website, there's a form that they can complete,
Okay.
or the number is on the website as well.
The numbers
Just
on the
contact
website.
us.
And
Yes.
the number
We
is
do have the website.
Just-
562-822-0965. Again, that number is 562-822-0965. The email us at info@crossroadstv.com.
And again, Crossroads is xroadstv.com.
This is just a different type of company.
Yeah.
And I just,
We have fun though. We have fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We really have fun, which allows us to be creative.
Yeah.
And our team is amazing.
Oh, and let's talk about it. Coming out the gate, not a lot of companies can deal with like how we're creating. We can go right there. We can talk about the first show that came to the Crossroads for us to pitch and do our thing. It's called Chef Max's Kitchen. It was executive
Chef
produced
Max.
with Amari Stoudemire from the New York Knicks,
Oh,
right?
yes, yes,
So we do have
yes.
NBA already.
Oh,
And let me tell you what that means. For any network out there who knows how to make money, right? You want a global brand.
Right.
Really few things are as global as the NBA.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So Crossroads saying that not only has a global brand already attached through this cooking show that's going to be celebrity driven, right? That is also going to be trading on OTC. We're already there. In a lot of ways, you see Sharifah, like I said early in the show, I said, check out Sharifah. You're going to see her walking on the lot of Sony Studios. Don't forget, Sony Studios had the #1 film in the world only a few months ago called Jumanji. She's on that lot, which is the top 5 studio on the planet. There's only one rock we're spinning on. It's called the Earth. She's walking in one of the top 5 studios on the planet. We're not in Indonesia. We're not in Dubai.
right,
We
right.
are over here in Los Angeles, California, the hardest place to be where the dragons live, and she's walking over there smiling with Columbia Pictures as her backdrop.
Wow.
Hear me, people, when I'm telling you this. Then there's the NBA. There's the NBA. Then there's two awesome executives who can be balanced, who understand also about going to the OTC. Meaning, we're not keeping it for ourselves. We're not keeping the IP for ourselves and keeping those residuals coming to our own bank accounts. We're trying to help you share
And I think
Right.
that's
and create
the beauty-
generational wealth.
That's the beauty of Crossroads, and it's a movement. And we
Yes.
were just
Right.
you explained earlier, it's just a wonderful time to be
Yes,
alive and
it
to
is.
be Black people, Black
Yes,
women.
yes,
We talked
Black
to-
girl
yeah,
magic.
Oh.
Yes.
Black girl magic.
And I feel very, very, very
Yes.
blessed to be here with y'all 3 beautiful ladies.
Oh, thank you,
you.
Marvin.
Black girl
Thank you.
magic.
Hey,
So-
it is magic.
It is. We know. That's what we're trying to tell you.
It's wonderful. Well,
It is.
give out your information because we're down to getting down
the
to the end of
last
the
few
show.
minutes.
Mhm.
So if you want people to follow you
follow
on
you,
social
yeah,
media,
how they participate.
Well, I keep everything focused on Crossroads. So if you go to Crossroads, you can see a lot about
You'll
us.
see everything.
At the same time, I mean, as individuals, we are individuals. We have our individual accolades. If you want to look that up, feel free. But as a collective, that's how we have the power. So go to crossroadstv.com. Check us out. You're going to probably be fascinated to see some of the things that we've worked on.
Yes.
You might even be surprised, but don't be because we work hard. You know what I'm saying? It's the weekend and we're here as both executives.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
you can eat.
Yeah, we have we have the navigation and we have the guns on the ship here together, saying, you know, this battleship is cruising. It's in the ocean. It's at sea.
Yes.
We've brought on awesome brands. We're bringing on awesome people. We're creating awesome alliances. Some of those alliances are already there. If you go to the website, you're going to see like a page that has at the bottom of the page of our homepage, there's like, you know, Sony, Netflix, you know, BET, some of our relationships that are there, and those are all real, meaning that we can actually incorporate ideas, go pitch, go to Fremantle, Granada, E1, Endemol. These are all places that whoever is out there who's listening, who really deals with TV, you can tell we're players, because I just mentioned those names. But we are for real, and we can get that money, and we will get that money. And not only that, we're going to show y'all how to get the money, share the money, and go buy your Jordans the right way, get your hamburger the right way.
Right.
I mean, you can't beat that.
No, not at all.
He talks really fast, but I believe him.
Yeah, I go.
Everybody says that.
So y'all can rewind this as much as you want after this recording.
Yeah.
What did he say?
You know what I'm saying?
So
awesome.
I do want to, real quickly, I know we touched on it a little bit, but because you guys are in your positions and you're successful in your own right, just can you talk, both of you, maybe 30 seconds to the people out there who aren't able to get over those hurdles for whatever they're trying to do, because these are some hurdles that you guys
destroy analysis paralysis. If we're here, you can be here. I'm by the time I was 21, I moved 21 times. I didn't think I was going to be here, but I kept God first. And I kept moving forward. You know what I'm saying? Stay sucker free. Street smarts.
Right.
Sharifah and I talk about all the time. Do the basics. Do the basics. Take your money. Don't always go to the club. You know what I'm saying?
Invest.
Don't chase everything. You know what I'm saying? Believe in yourself.
Right.
Put $5 in you.
Yep. Right.
You know what I'm saying? Jordan is good. You might not need those 11s that day.
You know.
You see what I'm saying? Or those 10s, those 9s.
Yes.
So all the basics, the common sense stuff, just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
That's what I say.
Just do it. Just gotta go for it and just do it.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, this is wonderful, and I had a feeling it was going to go by too fast.
I know it does all the time.
We had so much fun with you two.
We
Thank
did.
you so much, Crossroads TV CEO Sharifah Hardie. I don't know why I'm tripping off your name.
I don't know.
Because it's
Sharifah.
exotic and fly.
It's a beautiful name, Sharifah.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
and
you,
Marvin
Marvin.
Williams, President
Yes.
of
Thank you
Crossroads
both,
TV.
Sharifah
Thank you
and
both
Marvin.
so much, and we thank you, our listeners, people out there watching. You can replay it, share it, please, and let the world know. And invest in Crossroads TV. This can change your life.
Yes. Invest in someone else and invest in you.
Absolutely.
Because the resources are there.
Absolutely. You can follow us at It's Time to Talk Show. We're on IG. We're on Facebook. And Did It for Love, Speak Your Week.
Yes.
We're all about love.
And remember, your conversation is your affirmation. So.
And we love you. So we'll see you
Much
next
love,
time.
guys.
Thanks for tuning in.